Good morning, Minister. I'm delighted to be here this morning to speak in support of this motion on investing in our public water and wastewater treatment infrastructure. As a proud member of the regional group, I'm hugely in favour of balanced regional development. Across regional, across rural and even coastal Ireland. And it's not that I'm particularly biased towards living in the countryside. I'm just biased towards progress, really. And I think living in regional Ireland and supporting the move towards regional Ireland has huge benefits to pay for the entire country. First of all, it will reduce gridlock and congestion and pressure on services in our main cities. It will also reduce the cost of living because it's much cheaper to live in the countryside. Thirdly, it's also going to reduce our carbon footprint because we won't have to commute as much. But most importantly and crucially, it will increase the quality of life because we'll actually get to spend a lot more time with our families, with our children. We'll have a healthier lifestyle and a cheaper cost of living in the country. So look, I'm completely sold on the idea of balanced regional development. And I think, to be fair to the public, I think they're actually ahead of the Parliament as well. There's been a major trend, a macro trend even, towards moving towards the countryside, particularly in the last 15 months as a result of the pandemic. And as a result of that shift, I think the government shouldn't just allow it to happen. I think the government should encourage it to happen and support it to happen and even capitalise on this trend. And I think the best way to do that is to make up for the chronic lack of investment in water and water treatment and other facilities in rural Ireland. And I would like to welcome the publication of the recent strategy, Our Rural Future. I think there's a lot of good stuff in that strategy document. And I do accept that there has been improvements in road infrastructure, at least some improvements, and that the broadband rollout is at least accelerating. I know we're not there yet, but it is improving. But it's always the water and the water treatment infrastructure that's a poor relation. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's just not as deemed as sexy or as glamorous or as cool as the other technical utilities. Or maybe it's the fact that the water pipes are actually under the surface, they're under the ground, and because they're invisible, it's a case of out of sight or out of mind. So I think there's major improvement required from an infrastructural point of view in relation to treating water facilities. Just in my own constituency, in Portarlington last summer, the taps were actually dry for 3 weeks. Yes, I know it was a dry summer, but the main reason there is due to leakage. There's a huge amount of leakage. A lot of our pipes in the country they're back from the Victorian era, and we need to improve the piping basically in our regional towns, but also the lack of boreholes, lack of wells, and there's huge room for improvement from a water facilitation point of view, particularly in a growing town like Portarlington. A lot of the regional towns are rapidly expanding, and we can't rapidly expand unless we provide the facilities required. The second point I'd like to make is in relation to water treatment facilities. And look, again, I do accept that there has been improvement and there has been some investment, but there's also been a few overflow incidents on both the East Coast and West Coast in the last few months, and I think that's unacceptable. I do accept that these water treatment facilities are built to EU standards, and they are, but I think we should recognise that these EU standards are minimum standards, and there's nothing stopping us increasing the spec, increasing the standard of construction to ensure that those treatment plants are actually customised specifically for the Irish environment. Because some of those overflow incidents, they're really threatening and compromising some of the blue flag status of some of our beaches. So I think that's an area we certainly have to improve on. So look, just in summary, I think we need to invest heavily and invest urgently in our water facilities for a number of reasons. First of all, from a climate change point of view, I think that's going to bring big changes to our weather patterns. We're going to have drier summers, we're going to have wetter winters, and also we need to reduce the amount of waste from a potable water point of view and reduce the amount of pollution from a wastewater perspective. Our population is increasing, and the trends are obvious from that perspective. So the more people you have, the more water you're going to need. And then finally, money is cheap now. It's almost free, and I think what better time would it be to invest in our water facilities, be it water treatment plants or water facilitation, as soon as possible, basically, to encourage regional development and to build houses and to invest in our future. Thank you very much, Minister.